Because I'm a fan of the trans community, right? I think there's
Me too.
something beautiful about a man who can punch a hole in a wooden door and then say to himself, you know what? That is exactly how I want my vagina to look. Like, please, make it look like an explosion in a sperm
I
factory.
don't know if this episode is going to see the light of day.
I mean, of whatever you need, Mr. President, we are more than
I
happy.
don't need anything. I don't need anything. We'll be perfectly fine, right? We're wonderful. We're doing great.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry because I realized
I never say that. I've never said those words a day in my life. I'm never going to say that. Nobody says that.
Well, apologies from me because I realized it was your birthday a few weeks ago and I missed it and I really wanted to sing you, happy birthday to you.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's wonderful. You can
birthday.
sing that to somebody else because that's not making me very happy. I can say
well,
that.
I was trying to
Well, I
give
can
you
say
me.
that.
I was trying to deliver me best Marilyn Manson, and I was going to get the white dress and do me hair up and all of that. But I didn't know I lost the date, so I'm very sorry.
But that's okay. You did a tremendous job, and I think the entire world is better off without it. Believe me.
Good evening and welcome to the second episode of Deadliners, the show where you get the real story behind all the stories in the news, where you find out what's really going on, what the real thing is about the real people, even those who don't seem real. We make them real. This is a current affairs show. Run by comedians. We have some of Britain and other countries' best comics join us. This is not a newspaper show. This isn't tomorrow morning's papers. Go to the brilliant Patrick Christus at the wonderful GB News at 11 p.m. if you want that. Here, we're going to talk about all kinds of stories from social media, from the press, from television, from word of mouth. And we're going to tell you what they're really all about, because at the moment, this country, to me, seems inside out, upside down, and backwards. And the stories coming out are just, well, frankly, hilarious. And the only thing you can do is laugh. And humor, as they say, is the best medicine. And as I've said before, comedians are actually the best source of truth. They really spot the essence of what things are all about and what's going on, and they tell it like it is. And we take it because it's humor. It's acceptable. It's palatable. We can take it in when it's presented as humor, even though an awful lot of truth is frightening as hell and very shocking. So we've had a lot of compliments about our first session last week. People love it. One media tycoon friend of mine actually wrote and called it very funny. Lots of people have said they really enjoyed it. Nobody has complained. Nobody has said they didn't like it. We've also had some constructive criticisms, which we really welcome. Shut the hell up. And so please do get in touch with us and let us know how we're doing. Let me introduce tonight's batch of comedians. Once again, on my left is the marvelous, magnificent, real Londoner, Andy Zapp, who has been around since the dinosaurs and is a well-known and well-beloved comedian. Next to him, we have a very famous guy. I mean, everybody knows this guy on the comic circuit, Jay Mack. Say hello, Jay.
Hi.
Jay is an incredibly funny guy and very sarcastic, and I love his humor. On my right, we have our producer, James
Bembridge.
Bembridge, that's it. Yeah,
Bembridge.
Who is the editor of deputy editor of Country Squire magazine. And on his right is that Italian-Iranian superhero, Nicholas DeSanto, who is going to be appearing in a few days at next week at Comedy Unleashed in Bethnal Green, one of the great comedy spots in London where a lot of our comedians perform regularly, with none other than he is He is opening for Jim Davidson on Tuesday, the 10th, I believe, along with the 8th, along with the Intel lady, Jane, our very own Angela Rayner, who you're going to see very shortly, getting into a real ding-dong once again, like last week with President Trump. I tried to stop them, but it was not easy, I'm afraid. It was not easy. I'd like to start with an amazing story, which Jay is going to tell us.
Well, like Roger said, my name is Jay Mack, but some of you at home may know me by my Navajo name, Dances with Fat Birds. Anyone? No. Well, look, before I continue, I am going to have to apologize about my voice. I know I sound asthmatic. I know I'm hard to understand, but I'll be honest, for the last 20 years of my life, I've lived like a Charlie Sheen tribute act. I have made life decisions that Katie Bryce would find distasteful. I've taken more drugs than Keith Richards, and I've ended more marriages than cancer. So, it's all caught up with me, and I can't breathe. So, I've become comedy's answer to George Floyd. I thank you for all coming and listening to me. If you were to walk out now, I would totally understand. Of course I would. Because let's be honest, if you wanted to listen to an incoherent retard, you'd have stayed home to watch Rosie Jones. So, now,
Oh my God.
there's only one retard here. Next, me, Simon Simpson, a Jew went on the Star and Stripes. Yes, the dawn of a new age.
Oh my-
Reconciliation bill, reconciling billionaires and money. I bet you're happy about that, Strangelove, eh? Woo-hoo-hoo!
He's back. Oh my
Not
God.
much I thought.
Now, let it in. We told him to say away.
I think we were tightening up security.
I thought we were. Oh my God. Please, Jay, go ahead.
By all means. Yeah. So, in spite of all these flaws of mine, I'm a man, right?
Geezer.
Whatever the fuck that means anymore. I'm a man. I had a doctor verify it. I'm a man. So I want to talk about something that was in the Guardian, in the men's health section. The Guardian reports that men who have been castrated will live longer. Right?
What?
No word of a lie. Men,
They'll live longer for being castrated.
yes. And what I want to put to you all is, first of all,
The medical profession has made a real balls up there.
they have somewhat,
Well, it might have a
quite literally as well.
Yeah.
Quite literally. I think it shouldn't just. Oh, say, can you see? This is for you if you need it in the future. Oh, I like that. And for him, Davy Crockett. Although I'm David Crockett. Keep this here. Well,
yeah.
But so.
It's quite a lot.
Look at how you squeeze it.
I'll hold it for you, mate. I'll hold it for
My
you.
argument is that it shouldn't just be in the health section, it should be in the philosophy section. I want to pose this question to you. It's like Schrodinger's cock, right? Schrodinger's cock, of course. You can remove the most important thing from a man. You can remove the reason he lives, right? And he can live forever because of it. But is he truly alive?
Without his cock.
Indeed.
Without his cock.
Without-
Yeah, but castration doesn't mean removing the penis. It means
Yeah, well,
removing the
well,
testicles.
It depends.
Small detail.
It depends in Guardian terms.
It would save me so much time if I was castrated, actually. Roger's on the phone like 24/7. He'll say, James, have you done this for me?
You'll be more chilled.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
couldn't say you're breaking my balls anymore.
No,
Yeah.
then I'd save so much time because missing meetings, jerking off. I wouldn't do that.
And I don't, of course, I don't mean any offence to the trans community, of course, because
Oh, please do.
well, because I'm a fan of the trans community, right? I think there's
Me too.
something beautiful about a man who can punch a hole in a wooden door and then say to himself, you know what? That is exactly how I want my vagina to look. Like, please, but make it look like an explosion in a spam
I don't
factory.
know if this episode is going to see the light of day.
No, it'll be buried with
Yeah,
you.
we need to do Deadliners after dark.
Yeah.
TV.
Well, we do come out after the watershed Sunday nights at 9 o'clock. So
I'm a terrible producer. I keep in all the bad stuff and take away all the.
Well, the article actually addressed the fact that the point of the article was that all mammals, male mammals, of a mammalian persuasion live on average an extra 5 years. But I just kind of get the feeling that it was that Guardian-esque way of just trying to further emasculate men in Britain.
Was that argument that the more testosterone someone has, the more risks they'll take, or something like
Yeah, so we're just saying that there's the risk of cancer as well and whatnot. But I felt that they were stepping
Well,
out of the bounds.
I'd rather have cancer and keep my balls, to be honest, quite frankly.
Yes, of course. Yeah, because like a dresser, I think he's removed from a man his reason for living. It's not really
I
living.
think it's a
is it?
matter of perspective. We've all heard that joke. Why do Jewish husbands die before their wives?
they want to.
want to. Yeah, once
Yes.
you don't have balls, you don't have women in your life, so a lot more to live for.
It's-
And
yeah,
it's good for your pocket. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your. No,
It's
that's me.
the male identity.
Everyone isn't happy.
You Italian Iranian whoremonger! I'll chop your balls off and send you home.
We are on ceasefire. Yes.
Again, Mega, make Italy great again. Yo, Mega in the hood. Woo!
Well,
I don't know if that constitutes the violation of a ceasefire between Iran
I
and Israel.
think so.
It's
I think
very
so.
fragile.
Go ahead, please finish what you were saying.
I
That's
don't
very
think that was
interesting.
essentially my thought. I mean, they say happy wife, happy
Yeah.
life. What about no wife and much longer life?
Yeah.
Because you don't,
but this
spares you so much heartache.
So you'd take the snip then?
Well, no. I was more being an observer.
we can organise that right now.
We can organise
Yes.
it. I know a guy, yes,
Yes.
a very street guy, but he can do it for.
Before we go further into the world of some of your more seedy friends, James, you've got a story you want to tell us this week.
Yes.
What is it?
Subject is hunting the poor,
Yes.
a modest proposal for population control.
Just the poor.
Yeah, well, yeah.
This is like last week you're asking Angela because you stand to inherit your mother's large house.
Yes.
What's the progress on the assisted dying bill?
This man is evil incarnate.
Evil incarnate, absolutely.
Well, I did play Iago on stage.
A bald-headed little monster, isn't
Oh,
it?
yes.
Who's Iago?
Who's Iago?
Was he from Othello?
Eh?
He was the villain that
Shakespeare? Remember Shakespeare?
Oh, I remember Shakespeare.
Yeah, he's black.
He's black, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, Iago's not
Yeah.
black. Othello's black. That's why Iago hated him.
No.
Well, fellow.
Anyway, let's park that to the side. So yes, the poor people. Now, actually, I am quite nice.
With a small queue.
with a small queue. I serve the poor on Chiswick High Road. There's some homeless people.
After they've been barbecued, no doubt.
Well, yeah, with this weather, yeah. There's homeless people there, and we exchanged some money.
For drugs.
The homeless people. I owe the homeless people about £10 now. I think
Hunting people.
I've become something of a working class hero.
Right.
So they say on Twitter, anyway.
Go on. Because?
Well,
To me.
I'm really not actually. But no, I mean, you know what the thing is, Roger, I go out to the tube stations in central London, I look at the crowd there, the rabble, and I think, well, these people who have these conspiracy theories of like Bill Gates trying to depopulate people, I'm thinking, oh God, please let it be true. I want depopulation right now. Now, what do you think to that?
So things aren't so crowded.
No. Well, no, not just the crowdedness. I just can't stand boring people. I have to look. I have to drink this to make you lot sound interesting. I don't want it.
They're not poor people. It's
Not poor
boring
people.
people.
Poor in their entertainment value.
Yes.
Oh,
They're maxim.
If
Yeah.
you're
Yes.
poor, you can't afford to have a lot of hobbies and, you know,
That's
travels to sound interesting, but
Orwell was poor when he was writing his stuff.
okay.
but would you have shot him then? Would you have hunted him?
I don't think Orwell was a fun guy to go on a night out with. I really don't.
You wouldn't go clubbing with
He
him.
wouldn't go. I wouldn't go clubbing with Orwell. No.
So do you want to
He wouldn't
hunt
go to
the
heaven.
boring or
No.
hunt the poor then?
Boring poor.
Both.
That could be a great song or a poem, Clubbing with Orwell.
Clubbing with Orwell.
Clubbing with Orwell.
Yes, it's
We went to club with Orwell.
Roger.
The working title was The Road to Wigan Casino.
It's a approach we can hear. Yes, yeah.
So is this your idea that you're pushing as something that has been in a media outlet? Or?
I want to. I
You want
want.
to urge.
I want a proletariat genocide.
No, okay.
The pros. Kill the
Yeah.
pros.
Kill the pros.
Oh, but this is a current affairs show. This is not about our aspirations.
Well,
You know,
Well, at least he's got something.
Come on, Nicholas. We've got a knitted pink dildo here.
Yes.
It's not question time, is it?
I'm all for it. I think, but you should stop fucking around with ultra processed foods and whatnot. Let's just open some fucking camps.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
the gypsy guest is
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
opening camps.
Yes,
Yes,
a real Roma
Yeah,
gypsy.
yeah.
folks.
Authentically, you know, my people were in with the Jews, although we did request separate accommodation.
Top bunk, bottom bunk. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's time, isn't it? It's time for a purge.
It's time for a purge.
Yeah, it's time. Yes.
But it's also like, just to finish on my subject, in Soho, you know, he used to have, back in the day, you had Jeffrey Bernard, the writer, I don't know if you knew him.
Of course.
Yeah, Jeffrey Bernard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all knew Jack.
And, you know, you had characters like that, Francis Bacon, Lucian Freud, and they'd all go to these kind of
Wonderful.
wonderful people, completely crazy.
Did you read
characters.
Freud's biography?
Yes, I did, yeah.
2 volumes. Wonderful. Amazing.
And so they're complete characters. And now you go into Soho, it's kind of like a Disneyland version of what Soho used to be.
Yeah, you used to have spielers there, didn't you? Any old spielers there?
Everything.
Criminal spielers.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And it was
Like
like
our
a,
Spielers.
Spielers, like they're what took drinking bars for criminals, basically.
yes,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, you could go in there, anything that got nicked, you know, you get a sofa in there, or a fur coat, a diamond ring.
The Craze owned some clubs there in Soho.
Yeah.
And just to finish, there was Jeffrey Bernard was on Desert Island Discs on BBC Radio. And this woman asked him, have you done anything that you really regret? And he said, well, there was this one time when I punched a woman in the face. And he said, then I got to know her. And I was very sorry for it. And then but the more I got to know her, the more I felt that I should have hit her harder.
So that was a regret.
That was his chief
Not
regret.
having punched hard enough.
That was his regret. Okay, James. Well, look, thank you very much. And no, I don't think that we'll be hunting like that famous movie and story. I can't remember the name of,
Purge.
The birch.
was it The Purge?
The
The
Purge.
chap who has on his estate, you can come and shoot for the day.
Oh, that's an one.
Oh, yeah, shoot peasants.
Yeah, shoot the peasants who go running through the forest.
Love that. I'm working class, man. I love this idea.
But also urchin beating is a lot of sport, I think.
Oh,
Beating the urchins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
little gun scholars. That's it.
so, pardon me, it's,
So it's Nicholas's story now,
yeah.
which is Church of England preparing for war.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's it. I mean, this was an actual story.
Well, the others are actual stories too. They're not.
Oh, I always
Yeah,
make
yeah.
up.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought hunting the poor / the boring was more like your life dream. Which
Oh, it is.
and
It's my
identify
chief ambition.
anyone who has ever traveled on London
And look,
Underground
they've never found the bodies. So
What would you want them?
Anyone who's ever I'm sorry. Anyone who's ever
Well-
traveled on London Underground
Mm.
has
could relate
given
to
it
that.
a thought. Yeah, absolutely. I do relate.
Until some rich guy decides that you're the poor that should be hunted and comes after you. Then
yeah, ooh, yes.
Yeah, unless you're not boring, because he made that distinction.
yeah, the reflection off your bald pate is bothering him. You know, he can't.
Oh God, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So let's make it a bit more divine. Church of England preparing for war, for the prospects of conflict. So this
World-
was
World
in
War
Daily
III.
Mail. But World War III, well, people throw in World War III quite, cheaply nowadays, but it hasn't happened. They were talking about Iran, Israel turning into a
Mm.
World War III. It didn't happen, thankfully. But Church of England is preparing for a scenario in which Britain is dragged into a conflict. And they think in these volatile times, although they're hoping for peace and all that, they want to lead the way with moral inspiration and leadership and being sort of inspired by what the church did during World War II, which is a bit far-fetched if you consider that churches in England and churches of England are essentially empty.
Mm.
Oh,
yes.
Well,
Oh, yes.
I mean, in a way, some people say cynically, war is good for business. War might be good for church because only the fear of total destruction and death might eventually lead people back to the church.
Drive them back to
God.
church. to go.
Yeah, that should be the hope. Although we did have a pandemic, in which some people did want to turn to church, and the Church of England said, "No, we are closed." It's
Yes. Yeah.
so people were left out of the church. So how is that possible? So this gentleman, Reverend Hugh Nelson, who's the Archbishop to the Armed Forces, is talking about this. They're being briefed by the armed forces.
What are they even doing then to prepare for this supposed World War?
But there isn't much in the way of the article, but they
Mm.
said they're looking to what the church and the church elders or leaders did or said during the World War II. But of course, it was a totally
it was a war.
different
It was a
time.
war.
It was a
actual
war, and it was a nation
Yes.
of churchgoers. If you pay the attention to Church of England, they're so empty that unlike any other countries in Western Europe, Islamic terrorists even don't bother attacking them because it's not just worth the effort.
Yeah.
There was a
The
story
opposite.
in Rochdale, if I'm not wrong.
Rochdale. It's a bit of irony there, isn't it?
Yeah, and another place. But anyway, I don't remember the names, but this is a couple of years back. They installed mini golf in the church nave and the helper skelter slide to bring in the
I'm going to fuck church.
faithful. So
Okay,
they've
I'm not
done
church.
everything, but then they pushed for wokeism.
Isn't the new head of the Church of England a woman?
Oh, that explains it all.
Yeah.
then.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the actual head of the Church of England is His Majesty the King.
Yeah.
And then he came
July.
out in his Easter message and praised Islam and Judaism. And some people thought
Yes, and it's
well, that was a bit,
Get them all, but they get them all
off
once.
the mark.
Quick to make
Get 'em
himself
all the time.
Because it's like a business, Church of England.
It's
As
not-
in
it's not
branding,
like a
when you're a
business.
church, if you try to please everybody,
Yeah.
you
please
lose
nobody.
the brand recognizability.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not like a business, it is a business.
But it's,
I'm
Well,
always
what-
They should go back to the time, the people should go back to the time when the crusade, when we started, back to the crusades. What were the words said at the crusades? We had a few more parades, much more kind of oomph to it.
Bit of color and
Yeah,
Pageant.
flags and all that, man.
Yeah.
What-
Not
what-
to
I want to
kill
ask.
the Arabs. Is it? I don't know.
Saracens.
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 Yeah, there'll be-
I want to ask you what made the Church of England of all institutions be the one to start talking about the World War?
That's a good question. I think they've just sensed an opportunity to bring in people and
Together.
Yeah, it was
Scare
together.
people into coming back to church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they missed out on the pandemic, as I said.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
That was a great time of together.
Absolutely
But they've
ridiculous.
essentially gone woke and gone broke.
Well, I mean, the problem there was the logistical one. I mean, it was a time to run back to church, but the church was closed because it couldn't get
Yes.
the people. Now, World War is really, especially hand-to-hand combat, really up close, so everybody can come on back.
Well, that's what I like about the Muslims. They are more hands-on. We're kind of drunk.
Yeah, they're very hands-on.
Very hands-on. You know, like kamikaze pilots. You know what I mean? They get stuck in.
I walked into something the other day, right? And apparently, like Islamists didn't even invent suicide vests.
No,
The
They didn't
Tamil
even
Tigers
invent
did.
the Tamil Tigers.
So essentially,
Yeah.
Islamists are just the Beatles of terrorism. They
They're
popularized it.
extreme Islamists, not every Muslim, for goodness
Yes.
sake.
No,
No, we wouldn't say.
Legal department.
but it's just, and the, what do you call it? The Church of England just sounds really wimpy anyway,
Yes.
doesn't it? It's just kind of like a limp lettuce.
It is a bit lame.
With me, you are preaching to the choir. I've always been a fan of the
Catholic.
real church,
The
the
real
Roman
church.
Catholic Church,
Yeah.
founded by Saint Peter. Founded. If you want to
Well,
go,
and
because
a few
you have
other
all these
business
non-denominational churches, like which is a building with or without a cross. It's not even Church of England, non-denominational. Because in Italy we have, when you say church, is the Roman Catholic Church,
Yes.
and then it's found if you ever decide to convert to a church and they tell you the church was founded by Saint Peter, it's always good news.
Good news.
Right?
Well,
And not any saint, the saint who holds the key to paradise.
Yes.
His best buddy.
Well, I
of
won't hold my
Jesus.
breath.
He was at the Last Supper. Da Vinci painted them.
yeah.
The whole 9 yards, right? And then the Church of England is just this fat guy who wanted to go through wives like Taylor Swift went through boyfriend. Right? I mean, the whole starting block was.
That's a new comparison. That's
Yeah.
good.
Well,
Swifties are gonna, gang up on this show.
Henry VIII and the Swifties, yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the
There's
Catholic,
another movie title, Henry VIII and the
Yes.
Swifties, yeah.
but I love the Catholic Church. You know what I mean? Because I love it when they go. Like when the mafia go in to shoot you, they kind of bless themselves, don't they?
Oh,
With
yeah,
nice-
yeah.
they're
Yeah,
right
it's-
attacks.
it's
That
very
is an
operatic.
institution
Yeah,
that is
it's proper.
present in your life, in all aspects of
Yeah,
life.
they've got a few
Right?
of as well.
Well, I can't believe in God. To believe in him, I have to believe in devil, and he's never answered any of my sins.
It was the same as God.
Yeah.
Well, for me anyway, but
Yeah.
then I'm an atheist. What do I fucking know? Excuse my French.
Like my dad remarried a Catholic, and so he was a Protestant all his life, and we couldn't bury him as a Catholic, so we
Because?
compromised. Well, because he was Protestant,
So they buried him as a Jew.
we did. That is actually the punchline, but thank you.
No,
But yeah,
but we got there in the end.
we did.
I like it.
That's a pretty good analysis. I think that's good. Okay, folks, we're going to move on and bring you one of our favorite people, as we did last week. Dominic Frisby is one of the greatest comedians in Britain.
Well, easy.
If not as
No.
good as Andy's out.
No. I wouldn't think of me. But yeah. Dominic.
Not much, no. No, Dominic is really famous. He's gigging in America at the moment. He really is something. He's known as the Walmart Jordan Peterson, for those of you who know Jordan Peterson. He's away, but has given us permission to use some of his better clips, and we're going to play one for you now, and hope that you like it.
I thought I would get a promotion. I'd done a good job, all could see. My boss had a different notion. This is what he said to me. Wrong age, wrong sex, and the wrong colour, it's true. Hard cheese next, please. Don't call us, we will call you. applied for a job at the council. They're big on inclusivity. Could see that they had no intention of ever including me. Wrong age, wrong sex, and the wrong colour, it's true, it's true. Hard cheese, next please, don't call us, we will call you. I went for a role as an actor, to play an old English man. They looked at me and they contracted, some geezer from Uzbekistan. Wrong age, wrong sex, and the wrong colour, it's true, it's true. Hard cheese, next please, don't call us, we will call you. The government needed somebody to use in their latest campaign, explaining the dangers of knife crime. They looked at me and they exclaimed, right age, right sex, and the right colour, it's true, it's true. Well done, my son, here is a job you can do.
Well, I certainly hope that you enjoyed that. We'll have another clip from Dominic later on. But for now, I'm being told while we were watching Dominic that I should do my breadliners piece. Now, this is deadliners, of course, but we do have a segment called breadliners, which is where under the current government's economic policies, we are almost sure to end up in the breadline, on the breadline, whatever the correct whatever that piece of English language is, in, on, near, part of. And that is because every decision so far that the Labour government has made, it just doesn't make any sense. As so many people have said to me, Dr. Roger, this is the worst educated, least experienced, most authoritative and autocratic government that this country has ever known. Credit where it's due. I know they're trying hard, but these are people who they don't have the training. They haven't worked in commerce. They don't understand business. They all may be trying hard, but they really, you just have to look at them. They really are lost and they're not asking for help. Ask me, I'll help you. I could turn around half of the stuff you're struggling with probably in a week. But they go and make these decisions one after the other. And the big breadliners story for today, folks, is the criticism of well over 100, how many is it? Of well over 100 MPs of his own party.
24 or something.
126 or 4, whatever, criticizing the Prime Minister and Rachel, call me Bank of England Reeves, decision to roll back on the benefits and other cuts, welfare cuts, which are going to drive up the borrowing cost and the national debt of this country. And it's already the highest of the G7 group of civilized countries. And it's already this, and it's already that, blah, 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 boring, boring. Let me tell you something. The national debt, including the alleged 22-pound black hole that the Labour Party said they inherited.
22 billion.
22 billion pounds.
22 quid, but
the 22 billion pound black hole, the 22 billion pound black hole that the Labour Party said they inherited from the Tories, very much like the 55 billion pound black hole several years ago that Jeremy Rhymes with Hunt announced as the reason why he had to impose 25 billion quid worth of stealth taxes, bringing us to the highest level of taxation. And that's before Labour's 25 billion more of tax rises recently, the highest level of taxation since Her Late Majesty's coronation. The reason that had to happen is because we had a 55 billion black hole, said Jezza. Now, within minutes, a number of prestigious think tanks came out and said, whoa, wait a minute. If Jeremy rhymes with Hunt, and, or as I prefer to call him, Bates Motel Hunt, if Bates Motel and Fishy Rishi had calculated the national debt the way they had been doing for yonks when Fishy was chancellor, we would have had a 15 billion pound surplus. But instead, all of a sudden, overnight, boom, we have a 55 billion pound black hole. 25 billion gets filled by Bates Motel's stealth taxes. The other 30 billion, which was to be made up by cuts in military, welfare, education, national health, police, blah, 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 disappeared, never happened, has never been heard of since. It's going to be 3 years in November. This is how these guys operate. They make the national debt what it will be. Let me tell you about national debt. It took 61 years for us to pay back our World War II debt in Britain, okay? What's the rush? Do you know that if we repaid the national debt today, what would happen tomorrow? Oh my God, there's a resounding chorus of people yelling at me, they'd re-borrow it again in the morning. Of course they would. Everybody has national debt. You know, it's not the end of the world, but politicians love to use it as why we're so broke and why we need to tax you more and how smart they are and all the rest of it. It's all a load of nonsense. And that's the big story this week. And that's the breadliners story. That's why they're pushing us to the breadline, because we're all so broke. Not. Thank you very much.
Can I just add something to that? Apparently, Keir Starmer thinks that he looks like the actor Errol Flynn.
Keir Starmer looks like Errol Flynn's
Yeah.
what?
There is a slight resemblance.
He
there.
thinks he knows.
A slight resemblance.
Really? Errol
A
Flynn?
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the hair. I can see
Yeah.
that.
Keir Starmer.
He looks more like Errol Flynn than
Yeah.
bleeding Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer has the perpetual grimace
Oh,
of
that's
someone who has gambled and lost everything on a danger fart.
Yes. Very nice.
Yes. It's and he has lost everything.
It does
He's
look
lost
like
his country, but he's lost everything.
So your friend said that Sir Keir looks like
No. That he thinks he looks like Errol
He
Flynn.
thinks he
I
looks
think he looks
All
like.
right.
and this is a complex called Flynnitis or something.
Yeah, we should call it that.
Flynn.
Yeah.
Flynnitis.
And what do you make of that?
I find it quite terrifying that he actually is so deranged that he actually believes that, and he's in charge of, our country. So,
Here comes Clark Gable.
Errol Flynn had a big cock. Apparently, so does Keir Starmer. I know people who play football with him. Yeah, that's true.
Would be appropriate.
Yeah.
This is the Asgar Ange.
Asghar and Joe. I mean, the Intel lady, another great comedian, Jen, is not only a magnificent Angela Rayner impersonator, as well as some other figures, but she also recently, at the urging of the Deadliners team, may I add, has become a hugely successful agony aunt with people all over the country asking for her help and her giving some really very valuable answers. So we're going to have two segments with Angela. The first is going to be her doing her agony aunt number, responding to letters from a number of people, including, as last week, the very famous social media influencer June Slater, who wrote to her. And then later, she, as Angela Rayner, is going to speak once more with President Trump. That will happen later in the program. But for now, Angela is going to do her agony aunt number, and I'm going to read her some of the interesting letters that we have received. Well, our beloved Angela Rayner, wasn't able to join us in the studio today. So I have left everybody in the studio and gone into the our studio B, to speak to her in her agony aunt guise, which is new and very surprising, and which she seems to only do for us, which is great. And once again, to read her some letters that have been written, asking her some very serious questions and seeing what her responses are. And I hope you'll be as entertained as we were last week. So, Ange, welcome back. If I may call you Ange or Angela, whatever. And I'm speaking to you now in your new persona of not a politician, but an agony aunt who's being so helpful to people. And once again, this week, we've received a few letters specifically addressed to you. And I'll just start with the first one, if I may, which is from the very famous or infamous, once again, June Slater, who writes, Dear Angela, I'm disappointed that fly tipping has increased since you occupied your ministerial position. I should say for our non-British listeners that fly tipping is a term here that means dumping your waste, dumping your rubbish, your garbage where you shouldn't, like on somebody's lawn or in somebody else's garbage bins, or rubbish bins, dust bins as we call them. Can I have a new bin free? My Uncle Jim is using ours as an ice bath for his Ironman challenge. And then she says, also, why can't I shoplift like the migrants do? Ooh. And where's my benefits? Why should I have to pay tax in my massage parlor? I'm rubbing things down a welder wouldn't touch. You should be paying me. Thanks again, Ange. P.S. Lend us your cyberpunk vegan trainers, please. So how would you respond to those?
Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
So let's start with June suggesting that she's got some sort of side business going on with massage parlors. I hope you're a registered taxpayer, because that's a concern. And also, I mean, I've always thought she's got the look of a madam about her. She's got that tavern wench look. So I'm not particularly surprised by that, June. Now, can you have a free bin? Well, the last time I checked, the bins you get are free, so that's absolutely fine. And I don't care to know what your family members do in bins either. And also, this is a lot of dangerous misinformation. June likes to write letters and commit at least one non-crime hate incident with each letter. I think the last one, she committed several.
More like with each paragraph.
Yeah, and I'm taking notes. I'm clocking everything that she's saying, because she is incriminating herself with quite a lot of the things that she's coming out with. There is not. Let's deal with the misinformation for a start. Fly tipping has not gone up since we got into power. And can I just say also, where's my well done congratulations from you to congratulate? It's our birthday this week. We've had the year in.
True. Happy birthday. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. You should have opened with that, frankly, but you didn't. But okay, we'll let that one go. But yeah, we are celebrating what I can only describe as an unbelievable year in politics.
I'll certainly agree with that.
Unbelievable what we've done.
Totally unbelievable. Worse than anybody could have imagined.
Well, anyway, let's get back to June. I think I'm going to call her Madam June now, because I think that's probably the best description.
Kind of a Cynthia Payne.
She's peddling a lot of very dangerous misinformation. I think, she needs to maybe focus a little harder on a new sideline career as a strange sort of massage therapist or whatever she's calling herself these days.
Yeah.
And she needs to keep a beak out of politics, because coming out with things like that, she's on my radar now, and not in a good way. So I think, well, and no, you can't borrow me shoes. Probably a different shoe size anyway, but
I wouldn't lend her my shoes. No, you're
not
absolutely
anywhere
right. But
near them.
what about her asking why can't she shoplift like the migrants do?
Well, again, that is very racist, isn't it? That is
Yeah.
a very racist statement, and she's suggesting that that's all they do is commit crimes just because they committed a crime by coming here in the first place. That they're obviously going to carry on and do that. Very dangerous, very, very dangerous path you're treading on there, June.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you want to have a go at shoplifting, June, just let me know when and where, and I'll make sure that we can arrange that for you, especially if you want to ride in a clown car. We'll just have to see, won't we? I've had enough of June anyway. You can move it on.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So this is from Gary McGee, who says, Dear Our Ange, I'm currently redecorating my bedroom, and I wanted your advice because I know you will soon be redecorating the Prime Minister's private apartment above number 10. Which retailer do you recommend? DFS?
Gabby, I do not know what you're talking about there. As far as I'm concerned, our Kia and our Toria are quite happy with the decor in their apartment. They're quite happy without it, and they wouldn't ask me to come and redecorate. You know, they don't need it. They've only been in for a year and they're not going anywhere. So I don't really know why you want my advice on decorating. Now, if Gary is trying to be a bit smart, like June, and suggest that it's because our Kia is going to be moving out and I might be moving in, I'll have you know I am very settled and very happy in Admiralty House. I've made it lovely. I've got it just how I want it. And I have absolutely no intention of moving into number 10 whatsoever. So that, again, it's more misinformation. I'm just surrounded by, I'm hoping one of these weeks you're going to give me some decent letters that isn't just full of deliberate misinformation. But Gary, no, there's nothing wrong with DFS, to be honest. If they've got a sale on, which they do, I think 363 days of the year, I probably pop down to DFS and get a couple of sofas and a few chairs and that. But I'm not, because I am not moving from where I am. Perfectly happy, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about these people are just assuming you're going to be pushed kicking and screaming into number 10 soon because
no, not happening.
Things are going apparently so badly for the Prime Minister with hundreds of MPs and rebellions and every day more and more news. So, well,
misinformation is that. Everybody loves our Kia. Everywhere you go, when you're walking around the Houses of Parliament, it's nothing but happiness, and especially the backbenchers. They absolutely
absolutely. It is. It's a sight to behold. It's wonderful.
It really is. Oh, yeah.
It really is. So Judy Dobson writes, Dear Ange, I made sacrifices to send my daughter to public school, but your party has priced me out of giving my daughter a good education. You introduced 20% VAT, value added tax, on private school fees. How much money will that raise for you guys to waste? The state schools here are so poor, she says, that my daughter will probably come out talking like you. What do you say? Regards.
First of all, there is nothing wrong with talking like me. Look where it's got me. So you can shut that one down immediately. And second of all, I'm getting a little bit sick of this, oh, you're the party of envy, why you're picking on, the middle classes and all of that. That is, again, more misinformation. And you should be thinking about all of those poor kids in state schools who have had to put up with 14 years of Tory failure, failing them at every level. And now everything's in a mess. So what you should be doing is going, I am so grateful that the extra fees I've now got to pay are going towards other people's kids having a fantastic education. And, regards to how much it's going to cost, and I'm getting our Diane to do the numbers. And
Oh, really?
hopefully,
Oh, wonderful.
she'll
That
come
should
up
be
with,
good.
because we trust her with that sort of thing. She's got her abacus out.
Is she?
She's got a calculator there.
Is she
and
better than
said,
Rachel Reeves?
I'd say, well, Rachel takes a lot of advice from her, so
Oh, right.
that's where she gets her best advice from. So she is working with our Diane to straighten up the numbers. So I can't answer that particular question at the moment, but Judy, but I'll tell you what, it's all going to make perfect sense, total sense. All the numbers are going to add up, and people are going to have a crack at. And do you know what? If your child has to go to a state school, it's going to be such an incredibly cozy environment for all of those kids that have had to be kicked out of private school. It's going to make it very cozy, very close. There's going to be brilliant relationships building with kids from different backgrounds, and it's culturally enriching, isn't it? Culturally enriching. So your child, really, if they have to go to state, are going to feel culturally enriched, especially with the way they teach kids nowadays about the importance of cultural enrichment. Your child is going to come out all the colours of the rainbow, and they're going to feel so much more connected to reality. So you should be thanking us, Labourers, not slagging us off.
Oh, that is a really inspiring response. That's a great
Thanks.
retort. And you're going to like the last letter I have for you, which is from a Derek Ward, I believe. And it says, "Dear Ange, I think you make an absolutely smashing Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you.
You would make an old man very happy if I could take you out for a pucka pie.
Oh.
Always yours, Derek."
Oh, Degs. I hope you don't mind if I call you Degs. I get a lot of offers, Degs. I do. And, you've won me over. You had me at pucker, to be honest. And I really think that sounds lovely. I actually invited, when I was chatting with JD Vance, I invited him for his tea at my house. And I said, "Do you want to come to tea?" And he said, "I don't really drink tea. I'm more of a coffee drinker." I went, "No, tea, as in you have your dinner."
As in dinner.
Yeah. And he said, what would we eat? And I said, well, probably, I don't know, maybe some Finder's crispy pancakes and chips, and maybe a couple of frozen burgers, whatever I get in from Iceland, really. And he said, "I'll get back to you. Maybe that would be very nice." So I should have said pucker pie, and JD would have been in like a rat up a drain pipe, wouldn't he?
Absolutely, absolutely. He wouldn't know what pucka means, though. Pucka means really good, great stuff. Yeah.
Like us Labourers. We are pucker, aren't we?
Well,
All of the words that sound like that, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. And you are absolutely charming, and you make even a better agony aunt than you do a deputy prime minister. You
don't know how to take that.
You win the heart of the nation, I gotta say, and we so much love having you on the show. And we will be back again with you next week with more letters, and hopefully there'll be more Derek praise and less of the criticism.
Less of Slater. Maybe you could knock her letters on the head, because I feel as though she's given me a bit too much information about her life sometimes, and it's well putting me off. I'm going to chase up them non-crime hate incident reports and see if we can move it along a bit quicker. That might help.
Once again, welcome, Mr. President and Madam Deputy Prime Minister. Thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it, what with your busy schedules and everything going on. And my gosh, there's certainly a lot of stories out there. I know that you found one very fascinating because you heard something about Alcatraz, Angela, but you weren't sure what it is. Maybe Sean, maybe the president can enlighten us.
Yeah, I've just heard, Mr. President, that you're opening a detention centre that's full of alligators. That sounds absolutely, it's a very hard line. It's terrifying.
Well, we opened up a new detention facility in the great state of Florida, which is where I moved. You know, I left New York. It was a bad place. It kind of looked like, and it looks like it's turning into what you're dealing with out there in the United Kingdom, right? They just elected a communist, which you're very familiar with, Zoran Mamdani. But I left New York, and it went to hell. I moved to Florida. It's a beautiful state, but we opened up a beautiful detention center for illegal aliens. You know, these are the bad hombres that are coming into our country. They were coming into our country across the southern border. Now we have a beautiful border. We didn't have a very beautiful border. And we're housing them in a place called Alligator Alcatraz, right? And we say chomp, chomp, right? That's what we do. Because if you try to escape, you're going to get eaten by an alligator or eaten by a snake. And it's a beautiful security type of department we have there. Wildlife. It's a wonderful place. It's got all the amenities. It's oceanfront or waterfront property. And we say, don't feed the wildlife, don't feed the gators. But Alligator Alcatraz is a place where every Juan, you know what I'm talking about, is welcome. That much I can tell you.
Everyone. Oh my goodness.
Terrifying. So do you let
Well,
the
it's a beautiful
alligators go
place.
in the cells?
It's a beautiful place. We love the alligators. Now, the gators don't go in. They're security. They're the perimeter. We call it a perimeter. And we've set up a game, right? If you escape, if one of them escapes, and you know, they happen to survive, we're going to give them citizenship. It's almost like the Hunger Games, but we're not going to call it that. We're going to call it the Alligator Alcatraz Challenge. If you get out alive, you get citizenship. But we don't encourage that. We don't want you to do that. And I don't think you should do that. You know, these alligators are very powerful and they're bloodthirsty reptiles. And I have a background with bloodthirsty reptiles. After all, I handled crooked Hillary Clinton perfectly. That's one of the most bloodthirsty reptiles in the history of humanity. But these alligators are very, very powerful. They're very strong. I'm stronger than them, but these other people are not stronger than them. But I get along well with the gators. I get along very well. And they're doing a tremendous job. That much I can tell you.
God, it's like we've moved up from Squid Game to Alligator Game.
It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game. We love our gators. And I'll tell you one more thing. These gators have such big teeth, right? They're big and they're sharp. And they keep their teeth in their mouth. Unlike Nancy Pelosi, who's in our House of Representatives, she can't keep her teeth in her mouth. You know, when she talks, she starts spitting, and you need a windshield wiper to get it through a conversation with her. It's quite a disgrace. But these gators do a tremendous job, and they're going to secure our facility. Nobody's going to get out, and you don't want to go in there. That much I can tell you.
No way.
Wow. That's quite something. That's quite something. And why don't you talk a bit about what's happening in Britain? Mr. President, have you heard the attack, really, that her boss, the Prime Minister, is under? Have you been following that?
Well, I get along with her boss, right? I get along with the Prime Minister. We're going to make beautiful deals together, but I heard there's quite a situation in your parliament. You know, we have a situation in our House of Representatives, but I have to ask you, what the hell is going on in the parliament? It looks like a crazy house. What the hell is going on over there?
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everything is very calm. We've just had PMQs today and everybody was happy, especially our Rachel. She did have a bit of an issue with her eyes. It looked like she was crying, but it was just her allergies playing up. But people spread a lot of misinformation about what's going on behind the scenes in Parliament. And I don't want you as the president to start concerning yourself and worrying about what's happening with us, because, I mean, we might end up one day, maybe possibly working a bit closer. I mean, we're not at the moment, because our Keir is solid. He's absolutely solid and he's not going anywhere. But if, for example, something were to happen and I had to maybe fill in for him, we would obviously be working together a bit closer. But you know, I don't want you coming in thinking that we haven't got control of what's going on and that half of us Labourers are in a panic and turning on the front benches. And anything like that, because that is not happening at all.
But
Everybody is
you have hundreds
completely-
of members of parliament, fighting with their prime minister from your
no
own
one-
party.
No, there's none of that. Is again, there's so much misinformation, dangerous misinformation being spread about.
That's misinformation, isn't it?
It is misinformation. Our Keir is absolutely solid at the moment, and we totally support him with everything that he does and that he says. And he really is doing a cracking job. So you've not to worry. You might be seeing a bit more of me, and you might not. I don't know. I'm not trying to say. I'm not trying to suggest. That I'm going into number 10. I go into number 10 just to have a brew with our Keir and our Toria and just catch up and do meetings and that. But I don't live there yet, or on tall. I don't live there. So I'm just saying that I don't want you to worry that there's any issues within the ranks and that people are turning on, because that's not what we do in politics in the UK. We're very open and very honest, and more importantly, we deliver, Mr. President. We deliver, which is important.
Here's what I want. I don't want you to deliver anything to me. That much I can tell you, right? So please keep your deliveries, right? No Amazon Prime, none of that. And I'm not sure how much more of you I'd like to see, but I want to say I hope you're all behaving yourselves. I get along very well with Keir. I get along very well with a lot of people, right? You look at it, the King, we did a tremendous job. I had a beautiful meeting. But I get along very well. And we have a beautiful trade deal. And if you try anything, if you, listen to me, try anything crazy with me, your country's going to get hit with 9,000% tariffs. Worse than, you're worse than Ireland after they tried to give Rosie back. We don't want Rosie back. She's got to stay over there, Rosie O'Donnell. And if you try to give us Ellen DeGeneres back, we're going to have a lot of problems. You have to keep that nutcase too. Maybe she'll wind up in Parliament because you have some problems. But I think you're tremendous people. I think you're doing an interesting job. And whatever job it is that you personally are doing, I don't really want to know about. And I don't want it to be something that I have direct knowledge of, if you know what I'm talking about, right? Keep that to yourself. That much I can tell you.
I mean, of whatever you need, Mr. President, we are more than
I don't
happy.
need anything. I don't need anything. We'll be perfectly fine, right? We're wonderful. We're doing great.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry, because I realised
I never say that. I've never said those words a day in my life. I'm never going to say that. Nobody says that.
Well, apologies from me, because I realised it was your birthday a few weeks ago, and I missed it, and I really wanted to sing you. Happy birthday to you.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's wonderful. You
Happy
can sing that to
birthday.
somebody else, because that's not making me very happy. I can
Oh,
say
well,
that.
I was trying to
Well, I
give
can
you
say
me.
that.
I was trying to deliver me best Marilyn Manson, and I was going to get the white dress and do me hair up and all of that. But I didn't know. I lost the date, so I'm very sorry.
But that's okay. You did a tremendous job, and I think the entire world is better off without it. Believe me.
Well, I hope you got as much benefit from listening to Angela's advice to these people. She certainly, is a straight shooter. She doesn't mince any words, does she? But now it's time for our second Dominic Frisby segment. This is one of my faves, and I hope you enjoy it.
Some days I read the paper, watch news on the TV. I spend time on the internet, but everything I see only leaves me with unacceptable views, wrong attitudes. Daren't say what they are, I'd be put behind bars. They're worse than GB News. They're not something I choose, can't blame the booze, but my opinions are bad, and it's not 'cause I'm mad. They're very hard to excuse. I cannot tell my family or articulate them to my friends. If I should tell someone at work, my career would quickly come to an end. I'd never work again. I'd be completely condemned for unacceptable views. views. My mind's been skewed. Can't say them out loud, particularly not to a crowd, not even to a muse. Perhaps the Daily Mail is right, that much I can confess. What do I think of the Guardian? It isn't hard to guess. Prefer the Daily Express. I think you know the rest. I've unacceptable views. What do I do? Got a Twitter ban, now I'm on Telegram with unacceptable views. The Bible says forgive, live and let live. But if he knew what I think, whoever said that would blink and say it's relative. I had to find another place where I could talk about this stuff freely. On forums on the internet, everyone agrees with me, but just anonymously. It's safer like that, you see. My perspective's so wrong it pongs. Got to do something quick or I'll end up in the nick. I better end this song.
Well, that was great, wasn't it? He is just so amazing, Dominic. You must come and see one of his shows when he's back in London. He is even better live, that's for sure. And speaking of somebody who's even better live, there's Andy Zapp here, who has his own story for this week. You've curated far and wide to come up with this, I'm told.
Oh, I have.
You've even written. Look at these copious notes. Look at that.
Big letters. No joined up writing. Can't do the joined up writing.
Look at that penmanship, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Tell us your story.
Well,
Andy.
I'd just like to say hello, everyone. You know, like I'm South London's favourite everyman, you know, Andy Zapp. I'm a bit yin, a bit yang. You know, like I'm neither a dove nor a hawk. I'm a bit of a crow, really. But, you know, but the good news
Roadkill.
Roadkill, that's correct. Well, this is the part of the show where I look at what's coming down the Kaffir pipe from government this week. Well, it's good news for all you fatties out there. There'll be 350,000 obese children and 2 million obese adults out there. On the 29th of June, the NHS have rolled out an initiative to cut obesity. Obesity
is a hell of a problem.
Yeah.
It scares the shit out of me.
Oh, you don't want to get the obesity.
You don't want an obese coming in your front door.
Not at all. But the obesity by 50, not 50%, but by 50 calories. Yes, you heard that.
50 calories.
50 calories.
F me, 50 calories.
Exactly.
Oh my
That's
God.
or a pork sausage, a chocolate biscuit, or a rasher of bacon.
That's 2 McVitie's, for God's sake.
So the difference between us being a nation of wheezy waddlers is one custard cream. When streeting, the health secretary said supermarkets will face fines if they don't nudge shoppers, well, if they can waddle that far, towards the kale over chocolate. Government mandated broccoli and a kind of, I don't know. But in my opinion, let's have it right. Cutting your sausage in half is not a good life.
But not your own sausage. for
No,
God's sake.
No, the NHS are cutting sausage. People.
You know, that commie Mam Danny has said that by 2034, 10.9 million Americans will have lost their health care. Well, that's not true, because by 2034, 2 million will have died in mass shootings. 3 million will have been killed through overdose, big pharma, vaccine, and car crash and suicide. So only 6 million will have died. For us, just to reach the promised land with that big, beautiful bill, the reconciliation bill. Dr. Gewalt, what do you think of the reconciliation bill? Isn't it beautiful?
I think it's big and beautiful.
It's big and beautiful. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? That's you. I love you. Chewing on.
For those of you who
Security,
don't know,
security.
for those of you who don't know, that wild man is talking about the chap who's likely to become the new mayor of New York City, who is a communist, some say, extremely left wing, anti-capitalist, anti-Israel, anti-business,
Fundamentalist.
Anti-
crazy, makes Hamza Yusuf look like
Catholic.
George Osborne.
Yeah.
George. He makes Hamza Yusuf very good, look like George Osborne, very good. And he is pretty sure. Now, in America, for our non-American viewers, virtually every big city has always had a Democratic mayor and Democratic vote majority, and are always extremely left-wing, the big metropolises, led especially by New York. So that is what our wild man who came down straight from
Shimshon from Shewina.
Jamin Shimshon from Juanon, who came
Shimshon.
rolling down the Brecon Beacons like a stale haggis tonight to compete with us. That's what he was referring to.
Right. So the thing is, Andy, though, about your story. I mean, these NHS nurses, they complain, moan about having to resort to food banks, using food banks. I mean, to look at them. It's like they're eating food banks out of the business. I mean, it is. I'm sorry. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. And yeah, I mean, they're so fat, aren't they? I mean, what do you think about that, Andy?
What, fat nurses?
Yeah.
Oh, I love a fat nurse.
And so does dances with the fat bird.
Yeah.
Gypsies dances with
Yeah,
that
Oh,
bird.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
I think if you can't get your arms around them,
they're
you're
great.
not winning.
Obese mouth and obese.
Yeah.
How fat
The
was
thing is, did you see that story about NHS nurses stealing chips from tourists in Margate?
No,
Well, they were identified as seagulls.
Yeah, basically like seagulls.
but I don't think anybody should say anything against NHS nurses. Come on, look at the
seagulls.
contribution they make.
Yeah.
Oh,
In terms of
I think it's the sacrifices they make, the nurses.
Oh, come on,
it's
look,
it's
look,
a sin.
I knew one person.
Hands on heart, though. Like I've had a
they've
good
made
run. I've had a
enormous
good hang on.
contributions.
I've had a good run on the National Health.
Look,
I'm
I-
77.
And the National Health, for all its criticism, wow, I mean,
We've had it great. Yeah.
there's nothing like it. Yeah.
Exists.
And I mean, yes, you have to
Free
wait.
drugs. Free
Yeah.
drugs.
You have to wait, and they figure that. However, it has been my experience in all the years I've lived in this wonderful country that you have something seriously wrong with you, there is nowhere on earth you get care like that from the National Health. They're unbelievable.
Well, and this government have improved the waiting list by 100,000 people per week, better than the Conservatives. So,
Have they really?
yeah, well, this is what it says.
That's
on
what
my thing.
it says.
I didn't listen to him.
What's the source?
There's a market.
What's the source?
the government.
Huh?
Rock.
Grok.
I asked
So you
it.
believe Grok?
When was the last time Grok got ill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's very clever. That's very clever. But that's what it told me. I said, seriously.
Grok is part of X, Elon Musk's empire, for those of you who don't know.
So, well, there's.
Look at this guy, 77, up with that like a
Yeah, I
teenager.
loved it, man.
Down with the kids on tech? Jeez.
Andy keeps on sending me more.
I'm impressed.
propaganda.
Well, I do. I'm chosen because we got the shirt. You've got the shirt now. You've got your
Yeah,
coffee shirt.
yeah.
No, it's good. Nice. He's got a red star there. Look.
So go on,
Yes.
tell us more about your story.
Well, it was just interesting that like it is. Like, how are you going to cut obesity by
One slice of ham.
one slice of ham?
No, it's not even a slice of ham.
No,
Not
It's
even.
like half a slice of ham.
Well,
No, 50
50
calories is about a
No,
slice of
I
ham.
googled
Five
it.
wine
Oh, have you?
cups.
All right, then. And where'd you? Is that
I didn't
prop?
properly.
Yeah,
I googled
So
it.
what are they going to actually do? Make
What?
packaging smaller?
No, what they're going to do, they're going to find the supermarkets. Well, the
For doing
supermarkets are just going to make smaller portions and charge people more.
Oh,
Really.
just
But
another-
they have to. You know, when you go to the counter, when you go up to the counter and you've got all the sweets and stuff.
Mhm.
Instead of sweets being there's going to be kale, government mandated broccoli, government
They're
mandated.
not going to hide
Well,
the
you'd love
sweets
that,
anyway.
you're a
I mean, they're going to put the
Mummy,
sweets
can we
in the
pick up
bag.
some broccoli and kale before we go home?
And they're
Except
going,
no kid.
they're going to throw these half sliced ham at people or something.
Yeah.
Don't be ridiculous. Like
That's your
it would-
idea.
It would stick to your head, a nice bit of ham, right?
Yeah, it would, absolutely.
Yeah,
Just
look.
put the food.
They call him hamhead.
That's all.
And if you throw another slice on top, they can call him Mohammed.
Mohammed. He's on fire, the
There
geezer.
goes another.
That's the best joke.
The
The
editor's
I'm
going
going to have
to
a
be
lot.
busy.
I'm going to be busy editing.
boy's on fire tonight. Fantastic. But it was just kind of just such a ridiculous. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how much
Because
it's going
they've
to
done
cost.
these stealthy operations before the nanny stage, right? So
Yeah.
basically, they punish everybody because some people don't have any willpower, right? They make the crisps packaging
It's
smaller.
smaller. and-
They made the dents on Toblerones far and fewer in
I
between.
saw that. I picked that up.
When I was a young man, you used to get a wagon wheel. and
Yeah.
It was that big. It
Yeah.
was that big. It was massive.
This is during the
Now,
crusades.
This
during the crusades,
And it was a real bloody wagon wheel too.
It was. It was that big, and now it's kind of
I like that.
everything just shrinks, doesn't it? You used to get a
Well,
yes.
you'd certainly be aware of that.
Yes, well, you're not into a bitch. But yeah, but it's just kind of interesting. I thought that was interesting about.
Isn't it just a publicity stunt?
Well, it's all life's a publicity stunt. Isn't
No,
it?
I know, but some things, at least have some good in them.
I don't
They
know.
actually result 20-mile-an-hour speed limits. I mean, I don't like it. I got 3 points for going 22 miles an hour on a street on which I've been driving at 30 miles an hour for the last 150 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. But if it does keep somebody from being more seriously hurt, if God forbid I were to hit them, then I'm all for it,
Yeah.
Oh no! I play this game with my
But
friend.
I'm sorry, but a slice of ham, what's
I
that going to
don't
do?
know what they're going to. How they're going to.
Save more pigs.
It's trying to look.
So
Yeah, the pigs are really happy.
So my
Happy as a
friend,
pig in shit, basically.
my friends who this has got to be cut out as well. But my friends who drive, we play this game. They get more points the more cyclists they run over, basically.
Right.
And there is a scourge, basically.
It's great. Cyclists.
Yeah.
I hate cyclists.
I hate them.
I hate cyclists because they kind of ride on the pavements. They don't because they get a bit of momentum going. They think they don't have to stop. And they're so scared of putting the brakes on and all that.
And if you hit them, whatever happened, it's your fault. Even if it's nighttime, they're dressed in black with no light,
With no line.
and they just, and every time. I mean, I've given up putting the window down and saying, "Excuse me, you really got to be more careful." In this country, you don't overtake on the inside, on the curbside, and I didn't even see it till the last minute. Well, you should be more fucking careful, shouldn't you?
Oh,
What do you mean? What was it? He had a stroke, the geezer, like?
Yeah.
No, you go in. Well, I had a stroke.
Well, with that,
Rosie's young, wasn't it?
I leave old Rosie out of it. Come on.
with that game I was just speaking of, one of my friends scored about 500 points. They've not caught. So yeah.
Cyclists, they're just, it's just they think because they.
I have to say though, the other day I was driving through a park, and out of nowhere came about 30 or 40 cyclists, and these guys were, there were no girls, it's all men, and all quite fit in lycra outfits with helmets, with lights, with everything, all the gear and everything. And they rode in the straight. No, they were super. They were just so professional. And I thought, well,
Yeah.
that's okay. I got nothing to complain if I have to slow down a bit.
Personal responsibility.
They were brilliant.
Yeah.
30 guys all riding professionally. If we could see
Yeah,
more
they
of
were
that.
athletes, though.
Yeah, if we could see more of that.
If
it would
I
be good.
became Prime Minister, the first thing I would do
Yeah,
Shave your head.
is to ban. I've shaved my head. Is to ban lycra.
Why
I'd
would
ban
you ban
lycra.
How's that?
Because it's all Lib Dems who wear it.
Oh, yeah.
Lib Dems
yeah.
and paedophiles,
That's
same
understandable.
difference.
Why not ban
Do we have-
women in the first
Yes.
Do we? Yeah.
Ban lived them.
Ban live there.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Bet
Ban
Davey
Lib
wears-
Dems, ban Lycra.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
Bet
sense.
Davey certainly wears like.
Start another war with France as well while
Yes.
at it. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Lower tax on cigarettes.
the Tories are toast, the Lib Dems are blancmange, and Labour is a crap Suzette.
But the good thing is, though, where do you live?
Enfield.
Enfield. You London?
Uh,
Because we're all right in London if that World War III does come.
How so? We'll just
Well,
run
when-
to the church and hide.
No. Well, Roger, is we are okay from the point of view that once that bomb hits, like we're going to be dead in 5 seconds. You know, poor old Jay, though.
Yeah.
He lives out in Leeds.
Yeah.
They're all going to be walking about. Like
You're
this.
still in Leeds.
Yes, I am.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
As long as this man has his pension pot in London's property, we're all safe.
Good. Good point,
Good
Shipson.
point, man.
Good point. That's true. Absolutely. I
They
think
wouldn't bomb
he
their own
certainly
assets.
does.
Yes.
Certainly does. Wow, that's a very good
So
point.
Leeds is toast.
Yes, Lazy Stone. To be fair, it's already like that film, The Hills of Eyes.
Oh, the hills of eyes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Then you can have all the eyes you want, but no one's got any fucking teeth.
Yes.
They're
Right.
already mutants.
I think they'll look at aerial footage of Leeds or the North in general and think, this place has already been bombed.
Yes.
Some places in Bradford, it
Yeah.
looks like hills of ice anyway.
Yes.
Didn't Iran threaten to bomb London at one point?
I'm not aware of that.
I remember hearing that. They said they would bomb
Well, you've got
London.
very good fucking
There are
hearing.
more Muslims in London than in Tehran, so they wouldn't.
There's more Iranians in London.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but those Iranians in London aren't that Islamic, but because they're ruling Iran anyway. It's the
They
same
want
message.
Reza Pahlavi to come back.
Well, I would say so, but I can't speak on behalf of everyone. But yeah,
You want him to come back.
I do. Yeah,
You like him.
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I remember Ahmadinejad saying they just bomb fucking everyone. And just fucking name a place and I'll have it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, his issue was mainly with Israel.
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
fair.
But he was happy to bomb a few other places too. I can't bomb Israel because America will attack me, so I'll just blow up London or
Yeah.
Berlin or something.
By association, really.
Yeah.
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 But, I didn't disagree with it.
It was funny when he was yeah, he was invited to, I think it was Columbia University.
Who Ahmadinejad?
Yeah, to speak, and it was obviously very, very controversial that he was invited after he had said that
Yeah.
Israel has to be. And then the dean of the university wants to introduce him, and he goes on and says, look, we are so much such believers in free speech that even a tyrant, an anti-Semitic figure like this guy we have invited. And he was like, what sort of hospitality is this? You could have not invited me, but now that you have invited me and you insult me first before giving me the podium. I thought that was funny.
Well, that was like a bit like Harold Wilson, isn't it? You know what I mean? It was give with the left hand and take with the right hand. But yeah, that's kind of like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, it was like the guy was trying to, I don't know, please everybody again.
Yeah,
Speaking of
diplomacy, isn't it?
Church of England, but you've invited the guests. Say, okay, listen to what he has to say and make up your own mind. It was like, look at this POS we have invited.
Yeah.
This bigot, this demagogue, this. Let's see what he's got.
So, what's it like being Italian Iranian? You feel more Italian or more Iranian?
But it depends on the day. Yeah,
Or
I
English.
use a decoy.
Yes.
No, it's just that today the women's football Euro star.
There's no such thing as there as women's football. So is there?
Oh, that's one of the sacraments of the woke religion. Thou shalt watch and enjoy women's football.
Yeah.
Don't tell Leo Keres I watch women's football.
Why? Yes, just on your own.
Yeah, Italian Iranian sometimes I don't know.
Where's
Depends
the
on the
bloke
day.
from?
Sorry?
Where's the bloke from?
Depends on the day.
Go on.
Sometimes I feel more Iranian, sometimes I feel more
Just
Italian.
ask him, Roger, though, like, what football team do you support?
No, Italy, of course.
Right. Yeah, it was funny that, like, because I'm Polish, right? So my parents are Polish, but, you know, it's like around that football nonsense. Like, you always say, I support Poland. I don't know why.
Right, okay, that's
It's
interesting.
like football used to be a proletarian sport. Then in the mid-90s,
You killed them all.
Yeah.
Right.
I was only a child then.
But they increased the prices. The season tickets.
Then
and
it became kind of like a middle-class pursuit and sport.
you need a second mortgage to get a season ticket.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or to go to watch a match, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hot dog
Absolutely.
sets you back 15 quid or so.
So if Italy and Iran went to war, what would you do?
I always, if Jesus and Italy went to war, I'll be on the side of Italy. That's
We've got
absolutely.
Rome there, and
Yeah.
it's the seat of the
Italy,
church.
always.
You're on the side of Jesus, really.
I'm on the side of Italy. I mean, obviously, Jesus wouldn't go to war with it. But maybe Jesus would go to war with Church of England because that thing is really. I don't think
They put that one to bed, though, haven't they?
Jesus behind that wokery. But yeah, Italians just are a bit. The only time I don't feel Italian is when they are too picky about food when they go overseas. So they go overseas.
Who's that? The Italian?
Italians, yeah.
Right.
And of course, everybody knows that
Tell us.
Italian food is the best. But
Okay.
okay. I went to Prague and the food was terrible. Oh, I went to Tokyo. The food, yeah, we know the food is terrible everywhere. But you that's a given. But you should stop, moaning about foreign
The
food.
Italians threw a hissy fit.
Yeah. What did you expect? Oh, look at this! Look at this pizza! Look at. And I spent some years in Iran. Am I under arrest for
This is,
Miss
we're going to
Murphy,
close this program down now, ladies and gentlemen. We are the feelings police. We are. We are going to close.
who's feeling?
Well,
Who's
we-
who's feeling whom?
You.
Uh,
We feel what is it? We feel, Sergeant.
well, I'm telling you right now.
I've committed non-crime
Hate, right? Hate,
Non-crime
hate,
hate.
Hate incident.
So I've committed that. So
Come on, I feel like offended. We feel offended, don't we, Constable?
Yeah.
Mack?
Words.
Words.
Yeah,
Word offend us.
There was a gypsy earlier who wanted the reopening of camps.
Yes. Yeah, well, when you see
Where
it,
did
tell
he go?
him we're gonna nick him.
May I see your hand? Schengen Shimshon here from immigration. Let me see your hand. Show that.
The star.
Can you
of
see
David-
that?
Star
First of all, he's a commie. Secondly, he's a member of a gang. You're being deported, son.
it's
Yes.
all kicking.
That's Tren de Aragua.
Wow.
He's being deported to Alligator Alcatraz, as you'll hear, or you've already heard. Sorry, President Trump. And I can't remember whether we've shown that clip yet or not. But anyway, in this program, you heard President Trump and Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner talk about Alligator Alcatraz. Watch out for that.
Opened yesterday.
Yeah, opened yesterday. Anyway, listen, folks, we're just about out of time. I want to first of all say that next week on the 8th,
8th.
our Italian-Iranian star, Nicholas DeSanto, and our brilliant Angela Rayner star, Jen, the Intel lady, are both opening for Jim Davidson in Bethnal Green at a performance of our very good friends Comedy Unleashed, starting at 7:00. 7:30, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you there. So there may still be some tickets left. It's going to be a big thing. Thank you very, very much for joining us. We've had a great time. We hope you have. Let us know what you think, any suggestions that you have. And hey, we are thinking about starting to have a studio audience.
Yes.
So we would invite a few people to come in and partake of the amazing food that is supplied by us. And join us for the evening, for the whole show. If you'd like to be part of that, or you have any suggestions, please get in touch with us at our email, which I believe is deadliners58@gmail.com. That's deadliners58@gmail.com. Drop us a line in any event, say hello, wish us well, let us know what you think. Tell us if you want to come and be in the audience. If you've got any good jokes, tell us those. If there's anything you want us to discuss, let us know that. And we will see you again next week. Thank you very much and have a fabulous week in the meantime.
Officers,
Keep them peeled.
officers, take me now.
Oh,
I thought you
take
said
me away. You come with us, boy.